what would you say a networking event it takes to make a networking event successful?
So the first thing is having the right people in the room. So if you're going to network and say your business is, for example, it's a printing and copy space and you want to have a networking event, you want to make sure that you have the right people with the right budgets that will patronize your business afterwards. So it talks the first thing is making sure you have the right people in the room.
Yes.
Another thing is to make sure that you connect with them in such a way where you're offering value and you're not just saying buy from me.
Yes.
Because the way that you build that relationship or you connect the relationship is win-win. So I'm sharing with you and you're sharing with me.
Yes.
And then hopefully we have synergy and we do business together. Yes. So that's another thing. Another way to make sure that the event is successful is to do some pre-work. So not only do you want to make sure you have the right people in the room, but what about them makes them the right people? You know, is it what they do in the community? Is it that they're an influencer? Or is it someone who is, and I call them your cheerleading team, or the momentum crew, where they're the type of person where they're the spark of energy, and when you call them, they have a word for you, and they're always speaking positive about you.
Right.
You know, so I have some of those people where I haven't heard from them in a while, but the last time I spoke with them, they had already referred 3 people to me. You know, and that's what you want to make sure is you do the work on the people who you're inviting.
Exactly.
And then follow up. That's so important because you can have a wonderful connection with a fellow business owner, but if you don't follow up afterwards, the relationship goes nowhere.
Exactly.
And we get so busy from day to day. There's so many things pulling at our time and at our attention that you need to make sure that you're top of mind of the people that you want to stay connected to.
Exactly. Ooh, we're learning a lot today. This is wonderful. Yeah. I always love interviewing people who can walk us through their process to the point that we can see it.
Yes.
You know, that's very important because, you know, when you're doing a podcast, you know, although I videotape it, but when you're doing a podcast, you want a person to be able to hear but see through hearing.
Yes.
And so I thank you for coming on today. You are a wonderful guest. You really are. I'm totally enjoying this conversation.
It's been a wonderful experience.
Well, good. See, win-win.
Yes.
So, of course, we have more questions. This is the part where we talked about networking and how important it is to have the right people in the room and to make sure you do your homework so that if they are the right person in the room, why are they and why should they connect with you? Because they could be the right person in the room, but for each other, and it has nothing to do with you. And you just hosted a party of networking that has nothing to do with you or your business.
Yes.
So it's not going to bring a profit to you. And that's a part of why you give the party, right?
I also say it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Right.
So you can know a lot of people, but if they don't know you, they can't refer you.
That's right.
You know, if they don't know exactly what you do,
exactly.
I've run into people where you say, oh, well, so what type of business do you have? And they say, I'm a notary and I fix cars and I am a videographer. And it's like, well, I can't refer you because I don't know exactly what you do because you do so many
different things, right?
So it's not just about who you know, but it's who knows you, and they can clearly tell someone else, oh, you know what, you really need to meet Miss Charline because she has lunch with the finance bunch and she's doing things in the community to help people with their finances.
Right.
It's clear.
It's clear. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. So make your vision clear. And that's a running theme with us. Make your vision clear. Even if you do more than one thing, make sure you can tie them together in a neat little bow.
Yes.
Or separate them completely so you don't confuse people.
Yes. And
right?
in certain areas, you mentioned business A. In certain areas, you mentioned business B.
Exactly. Ooh, businesses are learning a lot today from you. Can you give me 3 main benefits of hosting a networking event or launching a party that you believe your clients should know about?
So a benefit, and sometimes small businesses don't know this, but when you're hosting an event or launching, having a party, it can help you get your ducks in a row. So do you have business cards?
Right.
Do you have postcards? Do you need a banner? So that can help them if they have a goal that July 31st, I'm going to have an event. These are some of the things that I need to get in order. And that deadline, that date will help you to get in action. So that's one thing. Another thing that I think that is a benefit of having an event is something that I mentioned earlier. It's to build your list. So anytime you're having any type of networking, a party, a launch, a fundraiser, the easiest way now to connect with people is via email.
Right.
Because the first thing you do in the morning sometimes is check your email.
Right.
And so if you have that email address and that you're building that email list, then you can always promote new products. You can talk about the great work that you're doing. And you can let your tribe know how you feel about them.
Yes.
So that's another thing. And then I also believe one of the third thing is that you can really solidify your bond with your tribe.
Okay.
So it's not just letting them know that you have this product or service for sale, but it's also letting them know who you are, your personality, how you feel about being in business.
Yes.
And some of those things where they get an insight of who you are, it really strengthens the bond between your client and the business. It fortifies your brand.
Yes.
So for me, like when people get to know me, they say, "Oh yeah, you really do love blue."
Right.
Because usually I'm wearing blue.
Blue, right.
And I'm a very colorful, a happy person. I'm an encourager. And the way that you find that out is by connecting with me, and that can be done at an event.
Exactly. And then some people, when you're emailing back and forth, it doesn't translate into the personality of the person that you're going to meet.
Yes.
So an event is a perfect place to let people see your personality and allow you to shine.
Yes.
Because words sometimes gets lost in the translation or whatever, and you never know what person you're going to meet when you actually meet them in person. That it's like, oh, she's so wonderful, or he's so great, or whatever, and you can't tell that. Right, or she has an accent, or I
love the accent.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so nice when you can meet the person that you've been communicating with, and I think networking in person it can't be replaced by a conversation that you have over text or an email. But email certainly is a way of getting the person into the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I also want to add too that I believe with networking, there are a couple one goal specifically that I think that you should really focus on, and I call it building your FAB 5.
Okay.
So the 5 key people in your network. So if that's a mentor, so when you're networking, you're looking for a mentor, or if it's a fellow follower. So like I said, sometimes small business ownership could be a little lonely, but if you find a fellow traveler, then you can find someone that you can reach out that's having some of the same struggles that you are, and you can talk about it.
Right.
Then I also believe that you need to look for someone who can support or encourage you. So they love what you do, they love what you're doing, and they have the ability to encourage you when you're feeling a little down. So those are some of the things that I think that some of the key people that I think that you should make sure that are in your FAB 5. So when you're networking or having an event or attending an event, you have top of mind, like, okay, I want to meet some great people, but I need a mentor.
Yes.
Or I need to find someone else who is a power partner. So for an event planner, a photographer is a power partner. And so then when I'm going to different events, then I'm looking for other power partners.
Exactly. So have a reason in mind that you're attending this event,
yes,
so that when you walk away from it with this 100 business cards, because you usually get like 50 to 100 business cards, and you're sifting through them going, who was that?
Yeah.
Why did I talk to them? You know, at least in that way, you know, like, wait a minute. Okay, I definitely need to connect with him. I definitely need to connect with her.
Yes.
This could be my mentor. This could be a part of my Fab Five.
Yes.
You know, so you walk into the room with purpose.
Yes.
You know, so you're randomly meeting people, but with purpose.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, another great nugget. So how do you measure the success of an event that you've hosted or that you've given?
So first off is making sure that we come in on budget.
Okay.
So there's always a certain amount, a dollar figure that you want to have the event for, or an amount that you want to raise. So for fundraisers, we start off with a goal of $1 amount. So if we reach our goal or we come in under budget, that's a win for me.
That's a win-win, right.
Also, it goes back to why we're having the event.
Right.
So if the goal was to build your list, and if it's to build your list by 20%, then we have a target.
Right.
Yes. So it depends on why we're having the event, but the success comes from a happy client who says, I loved it. It was stress-free. I didn't have to think about cleaning up later on or what to do. I didn't have the stress of, ripping and running the day before the event. So that is an indicator to me of a successful event, is because my client is happy.
Yes.
We've come in on budget, and we've reached the goal that they set out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And the other one is, I'm going to refer you to everyone I know who needs an event planner because you were awesome, right?
Yes.
You're like, yes, referral works.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, because that's the meat of your business is referral.
Yes.
So you like you said, you have to build a name for yourself, and your reputation has to stay impeccable, and you have to hit the targets that the person who hired you wanted to hit, because that way they're going to refer you to other people, and then that will create more business for you. So yeah. Another question we have for you is, when planning an event or hosting an event, do you think, how can a company ensure that they maximize crowd attendance? Because that is always a challenge.
Yes.
Where you think, okay, I invited 400 people. How many are actually going to show up? How do you control that if you can? How do you do that?
Well, a couple things is to have a system in place. So an event management system.
Okay.
So it's not just people clicking that they're attending on Facebook and on an event page.
Okay.
But you have something like Cvent, or you have something like Eventbrite, or some type of management system where you can manage that. And so they have to register. You have their emails. That's one thing. Another thing is doing it with a group. So in your industry, there are some influencers that you can reach out to partner with, so that they are bringing their tribe.
Okay.
So that's another thing, is to partner with some people, the event management system. And then also another thing is to over invite. So if the venue holds 400 people, you want to over invite so that you have at least 50 to 100% more people invited, because there's always drop off,
yes.
especially in Los Angeles, because you can have 17 events going on the
same day.
Yes. And so I make sure that you want to make sure that you pick a date where there are only
it's more likely that it's going to happen.
4 events versus 17.
Right.
But you want to make sure you over invite, and then you can partner with other influencers in your industry, and using an event management system. So it's not just guesstimating.
Right.
You have hard numbers and analytics to review months, weeks, days before your event.
Right. And then depending on the age group also has a determining factor on how you communicate.
Yes.
Because I ran into that recently planning my mother's 85th birthday party. Like, her guests are of a certain age.
Yes.
And they may or may not be on Facebook. They may or may not have email. They may or may not have know how to text, so it's more of the snail mail system and talking to them on the phone and, things like that. So know your audience also, right?
And if you have a good event management system, you can track all of that. So if you sent out paper invitations and you have a deadline of a RSVP deadline, you can actually add that to an event management system to say we sent out 100 paper invitations and we have 55 people who have RSVP'd and they're bringing a person. You can add that so that you can see the different audiences, where they are and how they're responding, and add all of those all in one place. So it's not like you have a number here or a database here, then you have your Facebook here and somewhere else, and you're getting phone calls. So a good event management system will house everything, and you can track it all in one place.
Right. Ooh, where were you when I needed you, girl?
Well, I'm here now.
You're here now. Yes. And do you believe network events presents an ideal opportunity to do some research on what your competitors may be up to?
Yes. And one of the ways that I do this is by attending events. So I can attend an event that my competitor is having, and I can see how the invitation came out, how they're corresponding with their audience. I can assess the feel when I arrive at the event, the flow of the event. And so that's a couple things that you can do, is what they're doing, how they're doing, what they're doing well. And that you can find out by attending some of your competitors' events.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. And then to plan, when you go to a networking event and you gathered all of this information, and I kind of touched on it jokingly, but what do you do with all of that? Like you get 100 business cards, like I said, and you're there to collect information so that you can help promote your business and everything. What do you do with all that information?
So immediately after the event, let me start at the event. So at the event, as I'm meeting people, I'm marking their business card. Okay. So the business card will either say hot, I need to connect with them now.
Okay.
Or great venue for future event. Okay. So I put a note on the card, and sometimes if I don't have, a pen, I can bend the end of the card so I know that this is something that I need to really follow up on immediately. And then after the event, then I sort them into piles. So I have people that I need to respond to immediately, and then I have some people that I need to introduce myself to and maybe send over some information about what I do, and then also share some resources. I usually, after the networking event, I'll share the next event that I'm attending, or there's some annual events that you don't want to miss as a business owner, so I'll share some of those. And then I have another pile of people where I might see an alignment, but I'm not sure, and I need to do a little more research on who they are.
Wow. I love this. You have given us so many nuggets, and we're about to close. But before we do, I really want to get your contact information out there. Okay. So please let us know if we want to create an event and we want to use you. How do we get in contact with you?
So first, I just want to share to join the Festive Flair Events family, the FFE family. Okay. And I also have a free download of a momentum keeper. As a small business owner, it's kind of hard to keep the momentum because it ebbs and flows. So I have a worksheet that you can use daily, and it has instructions. So if you go to bit.ly, bit.ly /FFE family, you can sign up to join my list where I share events and hints and tips, but then also get the momentum keeper. And then you can find me at festiveflair.com. So that's FESTIVEFLAIR.com. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter at Festive Flair Events and Festive Flair.
Kristen, it has been a pleasure meeting you, interviewing you, and I just hope my audience just falls in love with you like I did and want to use you for their events, because you're thorough, you're professional, and you're so pleasant to be around.
Thank you
so much for being here. This has been my pleasure.
Thank you.
Lunch with the Finance Bunch crew. We've had another wonderful guest on. Get a pen, get a pencil, listen to this more than once. If you want to be an event event planner. If you want to plan an event, if you're a small business and need help, please give Kristen a call. She has a wonderful business. She's given you all of her contact information. I loved having you, Kristen.
Thank you. I enjoy being here.
Great.
Being a part of the bunch.
Yeah, now you're officially a part of Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Thank you.
Thank you.